So today I wanted to talk a little bit about the UK technology ecosystem. My role as a technology specialist for the Department of International Trade in the UK is to support companies that are looking to set up their business in the UK or to just explore the UK market. I support companies across a very broad spectrum of technologies, so covering areas like artificial intelligence, data science, cloud computing, enterprise software, IoT, smart cities, cybersecurity. And in that role, we help companies to investigate the UK ecosystem to provide help and support for them to establish a presence in the UK. Now, today I'd like to give you a few details about the UK tech landscape. It's a very important market within the European region, as you can see here from the numbers. But what's more significant, I think, is the fact that the tech sector is expanding much faster than the rest of the UK economy. And this is partly due to the fact that tech is enabling all sorts of other activities. But also in the last 8 or 9 months, I suppose we've seen the impact of COVID on all economies, and the fact that technology is helping many companies and organizations to deal with that issue, be it artificial intelligence for healthcare, or security for doing online conferencing, or enabling retail businesses. One of the reasons that the UK is such a great environment for tech companies is the fact that it is very strong in venture capital. There's more VC investment in the UK than anywhere else in Europe. And therefore, if you have a technology business and you're looking for funding, then the UK represents a great destination for that. And in fact, we see as a consequence of this, many more companies present than, many more IPOs here than in anywhere else in Europe. Now, I wanted to talk a little bit about some areas that you may relate to if you are in a startup tech business in Belarus. And the first is data. Of course, data is important for all businesses now, but you can see here some market numbers related to the UK economy. But I think almost the second point is more significant in the fact that data in its own right is now incredibly valued to all businesses. And it is the largest data market in Europe. Now, if you are thinking about coming to the UK and you have expertise in data analytics, then you'll certainly be able to access the talent pool in the UK. So from clear universities and institutions, but also you can access the data in the UK. So for instance, if you're interested in healthcare data or population, city data, there are certainly ways of doing that easily. And you may say, well, that sounds great, but where is the evidence that companies would come to the UK? And here are some big company names that you will no doubt be familiar with. And these companies have chosen the UK as their destination for their data science businesses. Now, arguably, one of the most exciting areas of technology at the moment is artificial intelligence. And AI is having an impact on all sectors and ultimately all businesses and organizations. And again, you can see some very big market numbers here, which show how important AI is to the UK economy. But one of the things that is particularly important, I think, for early stage companies is the ability to find partnerships, the ability to find routes to market. And because there is a strong community of early stage companies, as you can see here from these reports, this means that there is a great appetite, a great interest in attracting more AI companies to come and do business in the UK. Part of the way that this has been supported is that the government has invested close to £1 billion in creating an environment which is strong for artificial intelligence. So supporting the access to data, so the examples that I just quoted about NHSX and the data stores reflect this, but also really supporting R&D and skills development. And I'll have more to say about that later. So we see a generation of internationally successful AI scale-up companies. You will be familiar, no doubt, with DeepMind, which was ultimately acquired by Google. But there's a whole generation behind DeepMind of other companies working in areas like AI for automotive and healthcare. And again, you have a strong series of academic universities that are supporting this sector. Now, one example of ways that companies can get involved with what's going on in the UK is the Alan Turing Institute. This is a national facility for data science and AI. And they work with many universities. So if you're looking for that R&D collaboration, and they also have strategic partnerships with large companies, so like HSBC, the bank, but also with many other companies, too numerous to put on the slide. So if you're trying to find one center of excellence and expertise in the UK for data science and AI, then the Alan Turing Center is probably that center. Now, many of you will be interested in communications technology and the impact that the Internet of Things is having, not just on businesses, but in cities. And in fact, the Internet of Things is a very strategically important area in the UK. And part of that is the emphasis on 5G. And we have a number of national assets in the same way as the Turing Institute for AI. We have the 5G Innovation Center as well. This allows companies to do partnerships and collaborations and find the way to launch their products and services in 5G or IoT in the UK. In addition to that, the government has supported a number of test beds and environments, if you like, innovation centers to drive the activity, collaboration around 5G and IoT. Now, here are just some of these examples. So there was a first round which was looking at areas like manufacturing and agriculture, and more opportunities now. So if, as a company working in this space, you can come to the UK and potentially partner with some of these organizations to test and evaluate your technology in the UK. Of course, closely related to IoT and 5G is the area of smart cities. And I think that smart city initiatives are bound to be important in Belarus as well. And in the UK, we see many cities that have launched smart cities initiatives. So for instance, the cities indicated here, some of which will be familiar to you, like London and Bristol, and others which are still developing. And an example here is the project called City Verve in Manchester, in the north of England. And this was focused on healthcare and transportation, and supported a large number of small and medium-sized businesses with the collaboration of Cisco. Equally, we are now investing further into this, and a number of cities have received additional funding to drive new smart cities projects. But if you are interested in automotive and transportation more generally, the Connected and Autonomous Vehicles Center is supporting further test beds, like I just talked about, for 5G and also R&D. And again, there are opportunities for you as an early stage company to come to the UK and participate in some of these programs. Now, of course, all of those technology initiatives are only good as long as they are secure. And of course, cybersecurity is something that is relevant to all businesses, and particularly at the moment, with so many businesses and organizations doing most of what they do on a daily basis online. And cyber is probably the most concentrated market in the UK as anywhere in Europe. And it's growing very significantly, as you can again see from these numbers. But the government has been investing heavily in this area in the last few years and committed close to £2 billion to create a national cybersecurity centre and a number of programs to support cyber businesses. Again, if you want to know more about the cyber environment in the UK, there's a very good website, Cyber Exchange, which illustrates all of the cyber companies in the UK and identifies potential partners for you if you want to bring that kind of technology to the UK. Again, very strong in the academic R&D environment with 19 separate centres of excellence. But more importantly, I think, for this audience, is that there are also a number of incubators and accelerators, including this one in London, which was set up a couple of years ago. Now, that's an overview of some of the key technology threads or streams within the UK. But as an early stage company, if you're a startup thinking, well, I know that I want to set up a presence somewhere outside of Belarus, where should I go? Why should I come to the UK? Well, first of all, it's a very easy place to get started. There are many, many soft landing options not just in London, but across the whole of the UK. And if you're looking for a co-working space, there are more than 1,000 of these across the UK and more than 300 in the capital. And these continue to grow. And even now, when companies when they have many of their staff working from home, there's still the opportunity to establish a virtual office in a co-working space so that when you're ready to start doing business in the UK, you're ready to go. And each of the clusters, each of the cities across the UK has its own speciality. So I mentioned Manchester a moment ago. Manchester is very strong in areas like media and cyber, and this is not a complete list, but depending on what area of technology you're most interested in, we can signpost to a city or a region of the UK that would be relevant for you. And as an early stage company, finding the right kind of incubator or right sort of accelerator program is also important. And the UK is very rich in accelerator programs as well. And of course, we'll come back to that in a minute, but just to give you a bit more flavor about why the UK is good for startups. There's a review that's published every year, which is by an organization called Startups and Places that some of you may be familiar with. And this looks at where entrepreneurs think is the best location for their business. And in the last survey they did, London came out as number one. Equally well, if you look at the other end of the spectrum in the startup environment, so those companies that have already grown, scaled, have now become unicorns. The last report that was done back in full report that was done for TechNation, which is a UK organisation that supports entrepreneurs, showed that there were more unicorns in the UK than most of the other countries, or the next 3 countries put together. So what this illustrates is that there is something special about the UK ecosystem in terms of the way that companies grow and be successful internationally. If you want to look at that another way, some of you may be familiar with the Slush event that takes place in Helsinki every year, and in particular the State of European Tech report. And that illustrated that over a 5-year period, the number of tech companies formed in the UK, or in London, in this chart, was higher than any other city in Europe. So there really is something unique about the UK ecosystem for startup companies. Now, I mentioned accelerators a moment ago, and I wanted to come back to that and talk in a bit more detail about why accelerators are important. Of course, there are many different types of accelerators, and you'll be familiar with those in Minsk, I'm sure. But in London, there are perhaps more accelerators than any other city in the UK, both those that are internationally recognized, like Techstars, and those that have grown up in the UK, like Entrepreneur First, which focuses on AI and data science. But across the rest of the country, in cities like Newcastle or in Glasgow, you will find other incubators and accelerator programs. And I think what we've seen in the recent past is the growth of sector-specific accelerators. In particular, here are some examples. So if you're a health tech company, for instance, the Digital Health London Accelerator might be a good choice for you. But equally well, here are some examples from cyber, from digital marketing, and from fashion tech. But irrespective of the sector that you're in, there will be an accelerator for you. And also in the recent past, well, over the last 5 years or so, we've seen the rapid growth of accelerators that are supported by large companies. So in this example, for instance, Wyra, which is supported by Telefonica, runs about 8 acceleration programs covering lots of different areas from security to blockchain across the UK. But equally well, other well-known names like BMW and banks such as Royal Bank of Scotland are also present in the UK. So again, depending on the kind of accelerator you're looking for, you will find these examples in the UK. Now, to go into a bit more detail and to give you an example, I mentioned Entrepreneur First a moment ago, which focuses on data science and AI. They support a number of companies, and one of those companies, Magic Pony Technology, sat within the Entrepreneur First Accelerator. They left the Accelerator, and within a year or two of leaving the Accelerator, they were acquired by Twitter for around $150 million. So you can see that there are success stories. In addition to that, there are dedicated seed funds, such as AI Seed, but this is replicated for any other sector that you're interested in. So if it's IoT or for manufacturing, automotive, you will find similar organizations and funding sources. I mentioned a moment or two ago TechNation, and just to go into a little bit more detail here, TechNation is a network supported by government which supports tech entrepreneurs. They have a presence in pretty much all the major regions of the UK, and they run growth programs. There is no equity that is exchanged in the growth program. They are there simply set up to provide help and support, particularly around routes to market, identifying customers, and raising funding. And some of the original programs that they ran are indicated here. So programs like Upscale, which is all about scale up, but also more recently, dedicated programs for particular sectors. So in AI and FinTech, for instance. And the latest addition to this, which is looking at clean growth, is Net Zero. Now, just to give you an example of how accelerators are important, I'm sure the audience is pretty familiar with this within Belarus, but here's a quote from one company that was in the Ignite Accelerator up in the Northeast, and you can see what they thought of it. And these three companies, which are quite well known internationally, are now were all graduates from the Future 50 program. And these companies are all very successful internationally and on a big scale. So from that point of view, there is a lot of help and support available to startup companies coming to the UK. Now, one of the reasons, as you probably are aware, to come to the UK is to raise funding. What I wanted to reassure you is the fact that there are many different mechanisms, and there's a lot of support available for you if you're looking to raise capital in the UK. There are all the expected routes that you would envisage in the UK. So business angels, VCs, corporates, crowdfunding, all of that is available and well established. Most of those funding mechanisms will require you to set up some UK presence. You don't necessarily have to have the whole company in the UK, but you do need to have some presence there to access the funding. But again, the Department for International Trade can help you with that. And Ina and the team in Minsk are there to answer your questions and to help you with the navigation of the UK landscape. There are, of course, other sources of information. I mentioned TechNation. The British Business Bank is a very useful resource, but the one I would really focus on is the Entrepreneur Handbook, which lists details of venture capital firms, business angels, and lots of other support available for entrepreneurs. So if you are interested in taking that next step, please talk to the Department for International Trade and the British Embassy in Minsk. Now, some of my colleagues are also speaking this afternoon. They are representatives of the Global Entrepreneurs Programme. They will no doubt tell you more about that. But just to simply say that this is a programme which is designed to help entrepreneurs come to the UK where they want to move a significant part of the business to the UK. So essentially the decision makers and the HQ of the company from to the UK. I'll leave them to say more about that program, but suffice to say that this has been very effective for some entrepreneurs who want to bring the whole business to the UK. Now, some of you, I recognize, will be interested in collaboration with universities, doing R&D projects, and in that instance, some of this material may be relevant for you. So there are a number of different agencies that support R&D and tech development. The umbrella organization is called UK Research and Innovation. They have a very good website that you can search for opportunities. But if you are interested in working with a university, with a company, then there are different routes. So for universities, you can do all of the classical things you would expect, so master's programs, for instance, but there are more than 100 centers for doctoral training, and these are a very easy way to get started because they allow you to do short-term projects at very low cost. Otherwise, closer to market tech projects through organizations like the UK's innovation agency, Innovate UK, and also in a more strategic way, looking at longer term projects through the Industrial Strategy Challenge Fund. Here's just a bit more detail about that. So if you are looking at, for instance, technology that would suit the aging society or clean growth, there are programs here or challenges that if you set up a UK entity, you can apply for funding from. And there are more than 20 of these, but to give you a few examples here, some grand challenges for the biggest programs, so particularly looking at AI and data, but also more specific programs looking at things like transforming food production. So a very broad range of activities. Equally well supported by the same agency, Innovate UK, which is part of UKRI, there are a series of innovation centres. There are 9 of these across the country. They each focus on different areas, so healthcare, energy, and these two, digital and connected places, focusing on areas like immersive technology on the digital side, and connected places, which is much more focused around future or smart cities, helping companies to engage with city authorities. Now, of course, as you begin to build your business in the UK, you will want to recruit people. And getting the right talent is part of the success of launching your business. In the UK, we have some great universities, 4 of the world's top 10, but many more, like Manchester and Edinburgh in the next 100. And of course, we have strengths not only in the hard technology sector, science areas, but also in the things that you really need to grow your business. So in business development, marketing, sales. And there are many routes to help you to recruit the right kind of talent at low cost. So if you want to take interns or you want to have an apprentice, we in the Department for International Trade can help you with that and signpost to the right organizations. And of course, you're certainly able to bring talent in from around the world. Again, another thing that's really important as you begin to build your business is making sure that you can access all of the right tax breaks. Corporation tax is relatively low in the UK at 19%, but if you are doing tech development, there are 2 incentives here. One is the tax credit for R&D, you can see the detail on the slide, and another one focuses on protecting intellectual property. Suffice to say that these are great incentives for companies that are looking to do R&D in the UK. And the last one is not an incentive for you, but it's an incentive for your investor. And if you're working with investors, they are likely to ask you whether you are eligible for the seed or enterprise investment schemes. And if you're a new business and you come to the UK, then you're very likely to be eligible. And that makes the investors more interested in investing in you as a company. Of course, as you bring the team over or you recruit internationally into your company in the UK, you'll need to think about visas. And there are, as you can see, a number of different categories, but there are categories that are specifically targeted at early stage companies, be it people who have been experienced serial entrepreneurs in their own country, experienced business or technology people. They may be eligible for categories like the Global Talent Visa. But I think one of the most interesting things is that from early next year, having left the European Union, the UK will introduce a new points-based visa system, which in some respects will make it more straightforward for people who have got a strong technology or business background to come to the UK. And ultimately, we are here to help you. The Department for International Trade has offices in more than 100 countries worldwide. So if you come to the UK and you need some help, you can clearly access that support in Belarus, but also in the UK. And we can help by introducing you to the right expert, be it in healthcare or in tech or whatever is relevant for you, and to help with the practicalities of setting up a business in the UK. And having established here, if you are then looking to use the UK as a springboard to other parts of the world, maybe you want to export to Canada, or to the Middle East, or to Africa, then there is a whole series of other support that is available to help you to access those opportunities in export. And of course, very few of us are able to travel at the moment as we would normally like to do, but we would always recommend starting the journey attending the right kind of tech trade show, or if it's in financial services or healthcare, whatever is relevant for you. Here's just a selection. And most of these are operating virtually for the next few months at least. And then beyond that, you'll be able to come back to the UK and participate in a physical trade show. But I just wanted to share those as being an opportunity to take the next step. And with that, I will end my presentation, and I would be very happy to answer any questions that we might have in the last few minutes of this presentation. Thank you.
Chris, thank you so very much. As an alumni of the Manchester University, I always appreciate the UK being mentioned.
Yes.
I spent 3 happy years in and around Manchester, and that was quite fabulous at that time.
It's the fastest growing tech cluster in the UK right now, so it is really the place to be outside of London to be for tech, I would say.
Yes, I mean, at that time they were just starting to build the BBC complex, the new media village, and they were just just starting out with the whole thing, and now it's completely changed around there.
Yeah.
Quite fascinating. One question, very simple, was that they would like to receive a copy of a presentation, if that's possible.
Yes.
So
yes.
So send us a link or something like that. That would be perfect.
Yes, Ina has the presentation, so she can circulate it to all the participants, or pass it to you for sharing. That's absolutely fine.
Yes. I think one of the fastest and sure proof ways is to post the link right now, so people will not forget later on. Thank you so much with all the help. I think people can also reach out in Belarus, right? And what's the best way to do that?
So to reach out to the British Embassy, so Ina is our key contact there, and my contact details were on the slide as well. So if you want to reach out directly, that's okay, but I think it's easier and fastest to reach out to the British Embassy in Belarus.
Excellent. Chris, I'd like to thank you so much for your presentation and for your time. It's great that you're supporting Belarus in these trying times and moments.
Yes.
And hope that this will continue in the future. Yes.
Thank you, Chris. We look forward to welcoming companies from Belarus to the UK as soon as they're able to travel.
Excellent. Thank you, Chris, and have a beautiful evening.
Thanks very much.